Good evening, good evening to everyone. Good
Are we
evening.
live now? Oh
Yes,
yeah.
we are. Good evening to everyone. Thank you for, let me see. No,
You want to remove the
yeah. Where's- Uh, oops. Hold on. I'm on the media stuff.
Johnny Cheska.
Just see.
JJC.
Don't pay George any mind, y'all. Good evening. Good evening.
Good
Welcome to
morning,
the
sir. How
Nightly
you are?
Exchange. There is a first time to everything. So
Mm,
don't pay George no mind. JJC. Hey, I'm trying my best here, okay?
You're doing your best.
Welcome you guys. This welcome to the Nightly Exchange. Once more. Um, thank you for joining us. If you're already watching us, thank you for coming. Thank you.
And
Um,
don't forget to share the show.
yeah, come on. And you can find us on YouTube and Facebook on Liberia Watch News. Go on YouTube, subscribe, share, and come and let's discuss Liberia. We're here to discuss the issue that everything that is going on in the country, from political to moral to what social to economics, everything. We're here to discuss it. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, whether you're UP, your CDC, your ANC, your WC, your whatever CP you are. Come on. This is an internet, I mean, individual. George, help me out. This is a independent platform. It's not owned by any party. So everyone welcome here to share your views on what's going on in the country and have your analysis.
Exactly.
We're here. We don't know it all. None of us here have it all figured out. We're just here giving our own, views on things, and we're just here telling you what we think, analyzing what we see going on. You can also do the same. Call in. We'll put the numbers on the screen. Come on or call us. So give your point on the issues, right? And we all come here and hold the government feet to the fire, hold opposition feet to the fire, and try to make Liberia better. We cannot do it by just sitting by and watching and say, oh, the country will not get better. Oh, this is not my problem. No, it is all of our problems. Liberia getting better is not one person business. It's not just the government. If we just leave it to the government might be slipping. And we just sit on the side, we're not doing anything to hold our feet to the fire, it's not going to work out. We have to, all of us, if we say we love Liberia, we have to give our input. We all cannot go in a government office to go work, to be ministers, to be directors, to be this. We can give our contribution by doing something like this, just coming here and informing the people, trying to educate our people on things that are going on and try to, sometimes the government may not be aware of some of the stuff that are going on, maybe by we saying, coming up here and saying it, hey, you never know. Something might happen, right? Something might change. So don't ever doubt yourself. Come up and let's discuss Liberia. Let's share our ideas. And, sometimes it gets heated. Everybody has that side, right? I'm not a journalist. I'm just here sitting in this place. They calling me host, but I call myself talking Tom, right? Because I'm not here to bow by no journalist rule, journalism 101 or whatever. Because I'm not. I'm just here. I have my side. George have his side. Everybody, family has his side. Sandy, everybody that come on here, we all have our own side. But at the end of the day, Mama Liberia should be our focus. So thank you all for coming in. Thank you for joining us. And I'm here with my how you can say my comrade George.
Colleagues, yeah, we're
Okay,
here. Guys, look, thank you very much for joining us. It's incredible to be here. One of the things I like to say is that it's incredible to be alive. There are a lot
absolutely.
of
Thank
people who are
God.
gone before us, and to be here is a grace from God and a wonderful time in the history of the earth. because now we are experiencing global warming. Our forefathers did not experience that. We are experiencing it. So it's a natural phenomenon, and we are all privileged to see it, that we tell our children and our children's children. Well, look, thank you for joining us. We are here to discuss what is on our mind, and maybe you can also generate some talking points, because usually, we don't know it all. We don't know exactly what is happening in Liberia because we are not there. We get most of the boosts from social media. So if you're here and you have any concern, please make it known in the comment section. We can copy from that and let's discuss it. And have
Look who's here. I'm not going to your George. Look who's showing up. I've been asking for Lane Lacroix. Welcome, brother. I've been looking for.
Welcome, Lane. Lane got a high, man.
Thank you, Lane. We've been on here from Monday to so you guys decided to hide.
Monday to Friday, we're here.
I don't have your number, Lane, so I couldn't have contacted you. But thank God you found us. From Monday to Thursday, we're here. Friday and Saturday, we're on Spoon. So thank you for joining us. Yeah, share the show.
Exactly. So
go ahead,
share the show, guys, and invite other people. We might not be friends of your friends, so please invite them. Let us discuss here some topics that we'll be coming up with. My concern may not be your concern, so bring your concerns so that we can discuss it together and make Liberia better, because we feel that President Boakai is completely losing it. Yeah, I feel that he's losing it because
thank you.
The policies that he's working on, for me, they don't add up, and we cannot sit back and allow our country to go that way. So we all got to make our contributions here so that Liberia can get better as time goes by, because he's a one-term president, and he said it anyway. I'm not saying it because I'm trying to get rid of him, but he said he just wanted one chance, and that's it. So that one chance, we want him to use it appropriately so that our country gets better.
Yes.
We will not allow it to be wasted. So we want a good legacy for him. So we'll continue to be on his back to make sure that he does the right thing. Thank you. Let's have a wonderful show. And Sandy, welcome, man. Yeah, your beard growing. You want to let me, my man?
I won't be there. You are party already.
Vacation enjoying.
I know.
Welcome, Sandy. You're welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Hopefully my camera and everything is good.
Yeah, it's good.
But
it's good.
Yeah, I'm joining you guys on my cell phone tonight, but it's good to be here. When I saw Josh, I felt the need to come in because I don't want it to be one-sided tonight where he's here to praise St. George. That's all he's always doing. So,
come on.
Nothing President Boakai does that is good enough for Josh. So,
look, that's not the case. But anyway, thank you for coming.
It's good to be here.
So, what on your mind? That you wanted to start already?
Yeah. Do you have anything on your mind?
Well,
yes.
I mean, there's so much going on in Liberia. Mm-hmm. I definitely look forward to a great show tonight, touching on the topics. Really nothing much on my mind. I mean, I have a vacation mind, but I want to. I want to turn it into Liberia. So let's get to the discussion.
Absolutely,
Thank
George.
You. So look, for me, it's straight to the point. I was reading up on the Executive Mansion website, and I saw this publication, and it was an executive order that was made by the president, and that actually executive order was made in April. Can you imagine, the 14th of April? I thought it was April Fool, but then I read the entirety and realized it's not April Fool. It's a complete nightmare for us, especially those of us who travel to Liberia frequently and infrequently, right? Mm-hmm. I saw the executive order. What the president wants to make it mandatory that everyone who resides in Liberia gets a national identification card. However, here's a twist to it. This identification card that he calls national identification card is not only limited to Liberians having it. He said any foreigner who resides in a country for 90 days must have one. So that means everyone in Liberia must get it. I see that as a revenue generation venture. However, the reason I'm against this is because if I have my passport, if I came from Australia and went to Liberia, that I do every year, most of the time I misplace my SIM card that I use. When I get back after a year, I want a new SIM card. I usually go down the road, flash my ECOWAS passport, and then I get my SIM card ready. But this time the president is saying, no, you cannot use your passport to get any other services. You cannot use your passport to open your bank account. You must have a national identification card. So that means we are going to be paying for identification card that is serving the same purpose as our passport and our driver licenses and everything. And I think it's unfair. President Boakai did not say Liberians were rich, that he could get money from Liberians. He said Liberia was rich. So if he wants to turn his back on using the resources that we got to give us services, and he wants to take the money directly from us, I think it's unfair. And I think that particular executive order needs to be rescinded because it makes no sense whatsoever.
George, it doesn't matter how much of the country has, right? Like the country always generating money from the citizens through taxes, through other things. Now, this executive order you're talking about, I don't know where I'm a little confused is that you cannot use your passport. It has to be, because I would think that the passport is also equivalent to the national ID and something like that. So I don't know if you have something to read it for, our audience.
It's right here. It's right here. I wish I could put it up.
It's a little confusing.
It's really tragic. Really, really, really tragic, because I think President Boakai should do better for Liberians, not to exploit Liberians.
Well, I don't see that as exploiting Liberians, though. I think it's for Liberians to have an identification card.
Look, if I get a passport, it's an identification. The passport is issued by the government. The same government are issuing the national identification card, or NID, is the same government are issuing me the passport. So they go order particular, and that passport tells them, it makes sure that I should be a Liberian before I obtain a passport.
So the passport has every information on
every information about me. Yeah, exactly. Everything about me is in the passport. And guess what? It's imprinted in it. It's not just written on the pages. There is a barcode in it that you cannot just see and see everything. There's a barcode in it that tells you exactly who I am. If somebody else brings my passport, even the person put my face on their face, you see them, you say no. This information, if you ask a person question in that passport, the person will not know, because that's not the person. So that particular passport has all the information that you need. So if President Boakai wants to make it mandatory,
let's read that. If you have that, somebody, let's read that a little bit. Let they hear it, because when we hearing it coming from you, gotta check it twice, because President Boakai.
It's right here. I can read it. He said, Section 1, mandatory enrollment and issuance to all qualified citizens/residents, and use of the national identification card to access all services in Liberia. So the thing is that if he asserted that this national ID card is just a supplement, right, to any other ID you have, like the driver's license or the passport, that will be.
Wait a minute. Is the driver license different from the national ID, or you can also have? Is the driver license different from the ID
it's different. Yeah, it's different. It's different. So you're going to be carrying your driver license, your national ID, and your passport, and so much more, right? I feel it's incredible how intelligent to do that, because if I have a driver's license and I cannot use a driver's license to open a bank account, but I have to have a national ID only because Boakai wants to get money to fund his lavish lifestyle, I think it's wrong. We cannot allow it. Yeah, I think you should sell his $1.2 million vehicle. I think you sell his $1.2 million vehicle and do whatever you want to do, but not to use us. Yeah, because that's what he's doing.
I mean, I get it, Josh. This one, I get it, right? I think what Liberia is trying to do, they're trying to copy, for sure, what I know Ghana is doing. Now, Ghana, they have something they call the Ghana card, or the Ghana, yes. So the Ghana card, for some of you that have been to Ghana, you know that you must have a Ghana card to even have access to their banks. If you don't have a Ghana card, you're very limited to certain transactions in Ghana. So I think that's what Liberia is trying to practice. in Ghana also, they still carry the Ghana card. They still carry their passports. And some people that are qualified to drive still carry their driver license. So I think that's the same practice Liberia is trying to carry. Not everybody is qualified to drive. So those that are not qualified to drive will only have the Liberia card.
Okay, so let me get this straight, Sandy. You don't have to have all three. You can have either.
No, in Ghana, you actually have to have all three, which is what George is saying, which is redundant. And I think that's the same practice Liberia is trying to have. And if that's the case, then that's very redundant.
Yeah.
You know, in Ghana, you must have the passport. I mean, not you must, not that you must. You have passport when you need to travel.
To get certain service, you must have it.
For people that can travel, they use the passport. But the generalized ID for everybody, whether you can travel or you can't travel, is the Ghana card.
Okay.
That's what Liberia is trying to bring now, the Liberia card or the Liberia national identification. Right?
But here's a twist. Cindy. Foreigner will be able to get our national card. Foreigner will be able to get it. Who stay in the country 90 days. For me, it's really redundant. It doesn't make any sense.
So I haven't read the whole thing, and I'm on my phone. I was actually, I guess I will kick out because I was trying to see if I can find it. But then I didn't know that when I'm on my phone, I can't do anything. Or as soon as I click something, I'm kicked out. So I haven't read it to do the details. But if foreigners are going to have access to it, then that's not okay.
It doesn't make sense.
You know, because you can't say when you are in a country for 90 days, you should be qualified for the Liberia card. You know, you're not Liberian. Like Liberia card should be for Liberian.
I think we need to find out, read up and read the whole thing.
I can send it to
you. So I mean, I think Ghana, Liberia now about to do it. Rwanda is doing the same thing. They have the East African card that you can have in Rwanda, and then you go around East Africa. I think people should just limit, identification cards. If a person cannot drive, they can have the national card. If the person is able to drive, give them driver license. That's still a national card. Like here in the US, once you have a driver license, you don't need, a regular ID card. That's it.
That's why I was asking if the ID is different from the driver's license.
So it's going to be different. So now you're going to have driver license and you're going to have a national identification card, which to me is redundant.
I just uploaded the executive order.
I think they have to. If this is true, which we're ready to find out. I think they need to, what they are saying is that if you can't drive, which is the Liberia card, Cindy's calling it, you can have the Liberia, but if you're driving, that Liberia card should be included in your driver's license. I think that what we do here in the US.
They become the driver license.
Yeah,
that could be a good thing.
ID right
but
there.
President Bouaka is not saying that. President Bouaka is saying you should have the card, regardless. Suppose I don't want a card. I have a passport that tells me that I'm a Liberian.
No,
but Josh,
why can I use my passport to open my bank account? You say
that's where I disagree with you. Even here in the US, even here in the US, you can have a passport, but you still need a driver license or identification card.
Okay, here's the good thing to it. Here's the good thing. Listen, here's the good thing to it. Those things are used interchangeably. That means if you don't have the driver's license, you can flash your passport, you still get the same service. Here in Australia, because my driver's license is in sync with my passport, all the information is going to be the same. So if I can flash my driver's license, it's giving the same service. If I flash my passport, it's giving the same service. That is the flexibility that is required. But President Bouaka does not want to do it, and the main reason he does not want to do it because he wants to generate revenue. That's not what he promised us. He said President Weah was stealing. That's why the people were poor. That's the noise he was causing around before he became president. So when you become president, you cannot come to the poor people that you say were poor and they don't have were destitute. You cannot come to them and require them to have all these things. So now my grandmother,
it doesn't matter how poor you are, you're supposed to have a national ID.
Now has to get a national ID card before she can get a SIM card.
Yes. For me, I agree with that.
Listen, I spent $50 to get her a passport. So she got a passport. She said, I don't need any other card. The passport is my identity. Their passport tells you exactly who I am, where I come from, the village I'm coming, my birth certificate, everything.
You did not give grandma passport. You don't want to lie. You didn't give grandma passport.
I mean, send it.
Why if I want my man stop that thing?
Where was grandma traveling to? I want my grandma to come and see me on my good days.
Like when I'm getting married or I'm graduating or I'm doing something, I want my grandma to be here. So I give her a passport.
Hey,
so my grandma
grandma
uses this
passport and send
passport
it to
to
us.
get her
Let's see it.
services. Now Waka is saying no, you can't use that again. You have to get the national ID. And
George,
then national ID, yes.
it's kind of hard to believe that you just got out of a sudden just got your grandma a passport. Come on now. You can be President Waka.
Let's consider hypothetical. Let's consider hypothetical. I want you to do on the facts because I want this particular point to be driven down, right?
No,
let's use it as hypothetical. Okay, let's say I had a grandma. Okay, I had a grandfather. Even though I don't have any of that, I don't have any grandfather. If I had a grandfather and I say I gave him a passport and he's been using this passport to get all the services he needed when he want to go to the bank to show his ID so they can get him money from a bank account, he show a passport, they give it to him. Now the buyer say no, go and spend money to go and get new identification card before you can access your own bank account. To me, it's wrong.
Yeah, I really have to look into that. I don't think that
it's wrong. It doesn't make any sense.
Looking at writing.
If Amy, if you can put our executive order for us to read.
I said it in the chat room, Amy. You can see in the chat room.
If you can put our executive order for us to read, that'd be great. Because I mean, I agree in part with you, Josh. What I will agree with is that everyone in the nation must be identified. Mm-hmm. Everyone in the nation must be identified. Whether grandma, grandpa, great grandparent, they must be identified. They must have some sort of identification. Now, I do agree with you, though. It should not be double. If grandma already have a passport, and that should be enough.
Why is saying no?
Well, actually, I know.
Grandma go spend her last $5 to go and get
No. I take it back. If grandma have a passport, grandma should still have some sort of identification card. Whether it's a driver license or regular, ID card. Yeah, that's what we do here.
You don't want grandma to be traveling with a passport all over the place.
So yeah, even if I have a passport, I'm still required to have an identification card. For me, it's a driver license because I can drive. But for people that cannot drive,
why if you can drive?
You get a state ID. We call it state ID. Then you are issued a state ID.
That should be optional. That's what I'm saying.
The state ID is not optional. If you don't have a driver license, you got to have a state ID.
My brother, even here in Australia, we got a passport, we got a driver's license to get proof of age and proof of citizenship. That paper, that letter, that proof of citizenship, that letter. You getting me? So if you don't have any of them, you can use it either one because the same government that issue the particular document, they issue everything. So if you don't have driver's license, you can flash a passport and you will get the same service. But you cannot compel the Liberian people to get this. If you don't get it, you can get service.
Yes. So if you do not, what I would say, Josh, it should not be for those that can drive. I think that's where my concern is. For those that have driver license, they should not be mandated to have the national ID.
Now you agree with me.
They should not be mandated to have the national ID.
No, what you're saying is that
mandatory. That's why you put in the executive order mandatory. And for me, it's wrong.
We're trying to put it up there to see if we can read it.
He did not say Liberian people were rich. He said Liberia was rich. So you cannot come and exploit the people.
George, I disagree with you on that part. Like having a national identification card has nothing to do with riches or not. Either way, if the country is rich, the government still has to generate.
If we cannot identify, that's Josh.
But not the poor people to get it and say it's mandatory to get this one. For me, it's wrong.
That's where some of the problem comes in. It's important to have identification, Josh. It's important. That's how we know who our people are.
I'm not saying no to that, but if you get one that the same government issue, they can render it useless because they want you to get another one. I get a passport that goes for 5 years, 7 years, right? I pay for it, and it's my national identity when I come out here. If you don't respect it back home, if it cannot transact a business back home, why you expect the other people that you come into overseas to respect it, to transact business with you? Why when it's not respected in your own home? No, it doesn't make any logic.
Josh, let me just put it in, right? The one you're saying about the passport, I disagree. The one you're saying about the ID and the driver license, I agree with you. That should be intertwined, the driver license and the ID. But you saying that if somebody have a passport, they don't have to have a state ID. I don't agree with that, because even here in the US, what I know about, I have a passport and I have a driver license, which is the state ID, something all included.
Yes,
in that one.
I do too. I have the two. I have a driver's license. I have a passport.
Because I have a passport, so I don't have to have a driver license or ID or state ID. No, my kids have state IDs. They have passports. So the passport, just because you have a passport, if you can't find it, this is where they do the different the swipe one for the other. If you're going to do something right away and you don't have it on you, but you have your passport on you right there, but you don't have your state ID or your driver license on you right there, then they would take the passport. But nowhere that in the US they say that, because you have a driver license, so when you travel you don't have to have a passport, or because you have a passport you don't have to have a driver license or a state ID. No. So I disagree with you on that one, Nick.
Okay. Yes.
Okay,
I hope you listen to me. Yeah. No, we're moving on now until we get this thing nailed down, because the thing is, I'm not saying
I'm done with this
it's
thing.
wrong.
I want to read the executive order. I want to read it.
Well, I already put in the chat room. It's there. So go and read it. Yeah,
it's a long write-up. It's a long write-up.
It's a long write-up. The first page, go to the last part of the first page.
No, we will not understand.
Therefore, I, Joseph Nyeman Boakai, President of the Republic of Liberia.
Well, what was said before he said therefore?
No, everything he said was just trying to tell you the lady emphasis on how that particular act came into place and how it has evolved over the years, because it was terminated by the PRC government and blah, 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 blah. So when you come down there to section 1, that's what he said. I, Joseph Nyeman Boakai, President of the Republic of Liberia. That's when he rents and go on.
Yeah, George, all of this will give you the understanding about why is it necessary or why this and that. So you can just
go and read it. But I'm trying to tell you that it should not be mandatory. It should be optional. It should not be mandatory. It should be optional. If I get my passport, I should be able to perform anything I want to perform. If I get my driver's license, I'll be able to perform any business in the country, because that is a government issue identity. If President Boakai is going to invalidate that aspect of it, I think is wrong, and I think he needs to take this to the legislature, because he cannot just make an executive order that will take money from us meaninglessly. I think it's wrong. If you want to go ahead,
how much are they charging people to get it?
I don't know. Even if it's 5 cents, it's still money.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I mean, you don't even know the price you're complaining about. I mean, every country.
I'm talking about the process. I'm talking about the act.
George, there are poor people in Australia. There are poor people in Australia, but they still have to have national ID.
Let me see.
Yeah, there are people here in the US, they are homeless.
Guess what? If you're not working, government pays you not less than $1,000 every 2 weeks. If you cannot use that money to get a driver license that costs $25, then you're useless. That will make you homeless. If you're not working in this country, they'll pay you more than $1,000.
That's why we need to identify people in the country to know. Once we are able to identify the people, then we are able to pay them something. But right now, the reason government is paying people and it's easy because they have some sort of identification, Josh.
Okay, so
in Liberia, we don't have identification.
Sandy said that. I mean, George said that the government is also saying that the foreigners should also have this ID after. So I was reading something here. It says that not the whole thing. What I got is said all government. The thing what we're talking about now. All government of Liberia ministries, agencies, and commissions and private institutions shall adopt policies requiring a presentation of national ID cards or foreign cards.
Or foreign cards.
Is it or foreign cards, whichever is applicable to apply and access services.
Okay,
listen. Yes, what I'm talking
or even
about.
foreign parts.
Yeah.
He said,
I,
Joseph Nyeman Boakai, President of the Republic of Liberia, hereby, Section 1, mandatory enrollment and insurance to all qualified Liberians / residents, right?
Okay. Right.
/ residence, right? Then
Uh-huh.
he said, and use of the national identification cards to access all services in Liberia. That all
Okay.
citizens and residents within the Republic of Liberia shall enroll into the National Biometric Identification System, NBRS, and obtain a national identification which shall be used as a primary credential to authenticate, verify, and confirm their identity, prove their citizenship, obtain or have access to all services which they are entitled to, establish and enhance a compelling collaboration framework against a central government and private sector entity for the effective, let me go up, for the effective implementation of the comprehensive mass enrollment and issuance of citizens into NBIS, that all foreign residents, that's section 2 now, or not section 2, subsection 1, right? That all foreign residents and visitors that remain in the Republic of Liberia for a period of 90 days or more shall enroll into the National Identification Biometric Identification System and obtain a foreign, so now they put foreign card on it. So they say ID card which shall be used as a primary credential. So you see, the whole thing is just money making thing. Because I cannot come to Australia, you cannot go to America, you get on visiting, then they say you must get a card. It's just exploitative. But you guys, I know when we are going to put it up, you're going to be yelling here. Oh, you want to see the money, you want to see the money. But when I
but John, okay, let's do it one at a time. The way you just read it now, it makes sense. It did not say that they were offering foreigners the same thing as Liberians or Liberian residents.
It said all foreign residents and visitors shall remain in the country, probably
for 90 days will be issued.
Shall enrolled into the National Biometric Identification System and obtain a foreign card, which shall be used as a primary identification. So guess what? What they do now is the same card, but then they say because your nationality on it will be different. So that's what they say. You're
foreigner. So we will identify you as a foreigner.
Yeah. So what the person passport at the king way in the country can I identify, and then you get a national identification.
Why are you against this?
No, I'm not against it, but I just feel that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
No, it actually makes sense, George. It makes sense. Okay. It makes sense. Let me explain why. Let me explain why. In most African countries, George, if you stay over,
reason to justify this, you just find a reason to justify this. That's all.
Let me ask you a question, George. Have you been in an African country for more than 90 days outside of Liberia in recent times?
Yes.
Which one?
I was in Ghana for 6 months. I was not required to get Ghana card. I was not required to get any card. I have my passport.
But do you know that you are qualified to get a foreign card in Ghana after 90 days?
It's optional. That's why the whole thing here I'm talking. It should not be mandatory. It's optional. If I want to do it, I'll do it. That's what it's all about. Let me tell you, any policy, the flexibility of a policy determines the success of that policy. So if you say it's direct, you must have it, then of course, so now
our country law says
if a foreigner enters Liberia and does not get it after 90 days, that means they're doing something wrong against our laws, right?
Absolutely.
Listen, George, let me help you.
Not like that. Nobody arrested me because I did not have a Ghana card.
If you are going to get arrested,
no, if I show my passport,
if you go to Ghana with your Liberian passport or US passport or Australian passport, if you go to Ghana with any of your passport, let me educate you on this, then we'll move on. If you go to Ghana,
you can't educate me. You can't educate me on this one.
Okay, let me say my own. Let me talk my own. Let me talk my own.
Okay, I'll mute. Y'all go ahead.
If you go to Liberia, Ghana, or any of those countries and stay there for 90 days, the maximum days you can stay in those countries is 90 days. If you go beyond your 90 days, you have to get some identification. You have to go back to immigration to get some identification to extend your stay. Liberia is saying, if you stay in our country for the maximum 90 days we gave you to come, if you stay beyond that, you need to be identified using our foreign national card. Nothing wrong with that.
Makes sense to me.
Nothing wrong with that. If you don't want that, you leave the country before your 90 days expire. But if you're going to stay for more than 90 days, then you must be identified through the foreign national card. I don't think nothing wrong. I don't see anything wrong with that. But let's move on.
Let's move on. Yeah. So.
And we make money from foreigners. There's nothing wrong with giving foreigner card and paying us.
No.
Liberians that'll be required mandatory to get a card as well.
Yeah, that's a Liberian card. That's a national card.
It's a Liberian. You're making this harder than it is.
You guys don't have any justification. Let's move on. When I get any topic, you bring it out. Let's talk. Because I disagree, and because it doesn't make sense.
That's it.
But it's okay. It's okay that because you guys come here to defend what Waka does. That's all.
I don't know why you're always looking at.
You don't even look at the rationale of what he's doing. You don't even look at what he's doing. You just want to defend it. That's a pre-mindset. You don't even invest.
Part of this thing here, we agree with you. We said we agree with you on some part, and the other part we not agree with you. Now you want us to agree on everything.
Okay, yeah. Maybe the other topic we're talking about James Salisa Diba, his comment on the class reloaded about George Weah. Maybe let's move on.
No, let's move on to something else, because
okay, then I'm all
before you guys classify us here because we're not agreeing to what you something that
no, it's up to you guys though.
But no, I mean you brought your point. We have to get ours across too, and this is to me. I don't see what's wrong with identifying your citizens and people who are visiting your country, and somehow it's a revenue generation from foreigners too. It's optional. If you don't want to do it, you leave before your 90 days is expired. I don't see anything wrong with that, and I don't see anything wrong with citizens having national identification card. I think that is in every country. Here we call them by the state IDs and stuff, and driver's license. You pay for it, you get it. It doesn't matter who you are, broke, rich, whatever. Everybody has it. So yeah, let's move on to something else. The government, right? There's a lot of claims on Facebook saying that the government does not have any evidence to prosecute the former speaker and the other lawmakers in this fire case and everything. And the government came up saying that they have evidence to prosecute these people. So the Deputy Minister of Information, Donna Sanders, says, let me read a little something here. Says the government has overwhelming and irrefutable evidence to prosecute former Speaker Kofa and the other representatives. According to Sanders, a preliminary, don't quote me that, open suit for my territory. Preliminary hearing investigation was conducted by the police based on which charges were drawn or brought. Sanders stated that the government does not rely on social media posts to prosecute lawmakers in connection with the Capitol building fire case, as has been reported on, I guess, some social media blogs and stuff. He described such a claim as complete deception and falsehood. So here we are, guys. With this whole case here again. It's been a whole week, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be going on for, I don't know how long this whole trial, if they decide to move on with it, it's going to last, but we're going to keep talking about it and keep talking about it and keep talking about it. The government is saying that they have proof. Other people are saying that they don't. I mean, George, what is your take on that?
Look, I don't know, but with what I've seen from the initial evidence shown by the government, I don't think it's sufficient to even go to trial. And here's why. The government came out and said there was the most significant evidence that they have, according to them, is a voice recording. And when the chief investigator of Liberia, of the police, was asked how did he obtain this evidence, he said from open source. And we all know what open source is. And he said, and then when it push him further, he said from WhatsApp. And we all know WhatsApp is encrypted. Even here in Australia, there was a girl that was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And according to what happened, they said she used the guy who must have been the perpetrator, used WhatsApp to contact her.
Mm-hmm.
The government could not get access to the WhatsApp message because it's encrypted. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But here is our government that said, the police force that said they got this message or the voice recording from WhatsApp. So I'm sure someone recorded that. I don't know how possible it is because somebody talking on the phone, I don't know, we're using WhatsApp to communicate on the phone, and somebody recorded it. They had another phone that they record what they were talking, or they had an app on their phone that recorded it, and they're saying that's how they got the recording. So they asked them, from which phone did you get the recording? They said from one of the defendants, was called Mr. I think that's Jason Siebel, according to them. And they said this recording came from Jason Siebel's phone. And Jason Siebel said, but you did not take my phone. How did you get it? Because I did not surrender my phone to you. When I came in, you asked me questions, and I answered the questions and I went home.
So just doesn't matter if there's a evidence, right? Voice recording that is authenticated. Does it matter where they got it from?
Yes, it matters. In a court of law, everything has to be gotten legally. Like for instance, you and I had a discussion behind it. So you say, George, I did this. You know what I mean? Like, you confess to me for something you've done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I recorded it. I cannot. It's not admissible in court. But if I tell you, say, "But Amy, I'm recording," and you accept that I record the conversation, that's why when police call you in, they say this call is going to be recorded for blah 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 blah. They will tell you, and then you say what you want to say. That particular thing can be used in court, but the one that you get illegally cannot be used in court. I think my brother saying here, understand what I'm trying to say. So the government, the way the case is going, except there is some. Because when the IG spoke, he said they had metadata, they had data, they have data, right? So except they are hiding it to bring it in tomorrow, then of course we can say, okay, they got something. But from what we have seen so far, this government has disgraced herself yet again, because this whole thing has been a witch hunt against the speaker. President Boakai got rid of this man from the speakership position, and he still sees this man as a threat. So he wants to go after him to make sure that he puts him in jail. And for me, that is not a good thing for our country. And the way we see it, if this case is adjourned, we look forward to this judge dismissing the entire charges against the people, that we will start from scratch, because the government did not do anything substantial in Ghana. They had 6 months to investigate since December 18 when this thing took place. We are in June, and they are still coming our way. Hearsay, I say, they say, somebody will say, they say they brought gasoline in the gallons. You get gallon of gasoline, you can't go and do DNA. That's why they put the poor boys in prison. I'm really upset, because the boys are languishing behind bars, who they accuse of actually carrying on the fact. There's no DNA evidence to link the boys even to the container that they said they saw in the building that was smelling with gasoline, right? But they still have the boys in prison. That's why this government is keeping political prisoners. If they don't like you, they put you in jail. So, Senny, that's how I see it.
Well, I mean, so my position on this, Judge, for me, I'm trying to be patient. I'm trying to wait until the final verdicts, I deliver. But based on the preliminary hearings, so far, I see some level of contradictions from the IG, or between the IG and the team that they sent here from the US, as to where the container that was used or supposedly used to carry the gasoline that were used to burn the place where it was found. I think initially the IG said it was found outside of the building, and the team said that they did found it in the building. So there is a contradiction there. I think the defense team may use that in their favor, but I have not been following, or none of us have been in a court to really know exactly what evidence is being presented, except from what we are hearing from those coming out of the court. But I do want to be patient. I too want to know who burned the Capitol building. And I want to know the right individuals or the exact individuals that either planned, coordinated, and burned the Capitol building. I just don't want people going to jail because of their, based on their political alignments. This cannot be politicized. This we have to get to the bottom of this. I'm in support of us conducting an investigation to find the doer of the acts. What are those who sponsor it financially? Those who, went there to carry on the act physically? Whoever is involved with this, I too want to know the individual. We need to set precedents where we correct these kind of mistakes to ensure that we will not just have individuals burning Capitol buildings or destroying properties. During the civil crisis, we saw that people went after our infrastructure, not just after humans, but they went after buildings, they went after the electricity, they went after everything.
Everything, yeah.
And Liberia was put back to 20-year plus. And it's still taking us this time to rebuild. And we haven't even gone nowhere in rebuilding. I mean, if corruption was not a thing, maybe we would have gone far. But here we are, still struggling to build a country, to rebuild a country. And some individuals decided to set the Capitol building ablaze. So I want to know as well. But I think, we must, not I think, but we must all be patient. I think tomorrow is the last hearing or so. So we are almost at the finish line. We are almost at the finish line. But if the government, and I kept saying this, if the government cannot provide substantial evidence to truly prove that these individuals that have been arrested and that have spent some time in jail are truly those responsible for this, then the citizen will rise up. You are not going to just send people to jail and come out with no evidence. Exactly. If that's the case, Funati should sue. But if there are clear evidence presented to the Liberian people showing that yes, Funati and those people named are part of the coordination, the planning, the financing of this ugly act that took place in December of last year, then yes, they should face the law. No one is above the law. But no one should also twist the law to favor them and go against other people. So I think that's really my position, George. There is nothing else that I can say until we see the end of this. And wherever it goes, I want to see the evidence and I want to know who burned the Capitol building.
Thank you, Sandy. And look, Sandy, as a co-host, I just want to thank you for that elaboration. Yeah. I think it is for me exactly. I want to know who really did that. Because if someone actually did that, that person does not mean well for Liberia. Because we always had that thing, destroying things when things are not in our favor. You know what I mean? And then it put us back 100 years. Because now, looking at our country, no building you can be proud of to say, oh, you want, even maybe it's the central bank now, because I drove by the central bank, I feel it's a decent little building there, right? But no infrastructure, And one of the things that brings pride to a nation is the infrastructure, right? The development on the infrastructure level. But yeah, Liberia is really in the dungeon when it comes to infrastructure development. So we want to make sure that you can only be on the old map to plant the new map. So if we start to brand our existing buildings, how do we build new ones? What do we say to build a new one? So for me, I agree with you. I want to know exactly who did this, but the fashion and manner in which this government is going about, funding the president is to me unrealistic and somehow it's questionable, because the contradiction is glaring, and even Stephen Warner can see, that they are not doing the right thing, because when the IG spoke, he spoke with confidence. He spoke with undeniable confidence that they had everything they had, and they were going to court, and they were going to be on the right side. I mean, they were going to win the case. But now, coming to court and everything falling apart is a shame. And I don't know, because this government, they are not good at abiding by the court rulings in that country. So I don't know how it's going to be, because even when Fanati sues them, they will not do anything. They will not obey anything. They go to ECOWAS court, they will not do anything. So it's just ridiculous, but it's sad. But I think that we got a president who is very vindictive. He will pay. He will make sure that he keep you at arm's length. Whatever once he doesn't trust you, he will do that, and that's what it is. But if we look at the whole situation, Brother Sandy, we want to look at the nitty-gritty of this issue. This whole issue is about President Boubacar inviting Fonati Kofa to the room and playing a coup behind him. Because I cannot rule it out that people burned that building. But look, Liberians were angry. Not just Fonati Kofa, who they removed from the chair, was angry. Liberians were angry that people are on Capitol Hill that are just eating for nothing money and doing nothing for the country. And they're getting the highest salary in the entire country. Citizens are angry. And then they should make it to start fighting among themselves and cannot even do the nothing they were doing. Made Liberians angry. So it could have been anyone who took it upon themselves, say, I will destroy that place and see what the guys will wear. So there are so many leads, it's wide open. You cannot just narrow it to two persons and say 30 people here. You know what I mean? So it's ridiculous. But we just hope that the actual culprits are apprehended, and those who go to jail are those exactly who must have done, the act. So for me, that's how far I can bring it.
I agree with you. I mean, again, at this point, all those, even Fonante and the four others, as of now, they are innocent. They are innocent until government can prove that they are guilty.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
And like you say, it could be anyone. Mm-hmm. It could be anyone. Now, the probability of it being them is a little higher because of the fact that there is a dispute between them and the other party. But then it could also be said that it could also be the other party who say that it can be the majority black or some members of the majority black as well.
Exactly.
That maybe you want to carry on this act to blame it on the other side or to distract the Liberian people. So it could be anyone. And that's why it's important for clear-cut evidence to be provided in this case. You cannot give any sort of a guilty verdict without giving clear evidence. But then here's the thing too, Josh. I think this is it goes to the jurors, right? I think I heard that there will be a 12-member jurors that will give a verdict on this case.
They first has to pass the stage where this stage that the ruling coming tomorrow is out if it will go to trial or not.
Okay.
So the first test is like, they bring the case to you, then you say, what happened? The jury explain to you. Then you say, no, you forget about it, man. Nothing happened. You know what I mean? Down the person do it. Or it will go to juror, right? So yeah, you quite right, but we are in a preliminary stage now. Go ahead.
Right. So see, the thing about juror cases too is that I've been a juror on a murder case here in the US, a murder case. I mean, our verdict was guilty because it was clear cut. There is no way you can beat around that. But the thing about jurors too is, who you have on that juror, especially in countries like Liberia that can be easily influenced. Jurors are not supposed to get in touch with any side of the aisle, any party. But if, let's say, jurors are selected, who knows which side they will be in favor, or who knows who's going to reach out to them. Very sadly, we often find that in our country, people are easily manipulated and influenced. So I just hope that whosoever will pass the final verdict of this case will really look into the evidence that will be provided, and not just based on some biases, some sort of influence, some sort of political alignments, that they will really focus on the actual evidences that will be provided by the government, because it is really incumbent on the government to give us clear evidence showing who coordinated, who financed, and who burned the Capitol building. Without that, any verdict that is a guilty verdict will just be unfair, and it may create even more tension, unnecessary tension that we don't need in the country.
It's true, and I agree with you. I agree with you because I think what happened recently, the arrest and the arraignment and all these things, was just commotion created by the government on its own. Because I've always had the view that these people who have been left, according to what I said it even before I heard that Cummings was having the same idea that I had. That people, you can leave them to their own reconnaissance, right? You can tell and say, look, you're someone to quote, on these charges, finish. Then to go and arrest them, take them to jail, and then come back. I don't know how much bail was posed or whatever, but it's just this country making the country noisy. This government making the country noisy because it never had to go where it went. You know what I mean? If even they have all the evidence, they just tried the whole thing, and that's why the damage cases, because they go into the media and they know that the same people that are going to choose to as jurors are people who listen to radio, right? They are Liberians, but they will go on the radio and say everything, and now they call the same people that say can't judge. So it's just ridiculous, my brother. But it is what we have a president, the Kisi Pape, who does not know what he's doing. So people tell me that he didn't know what was going on. That's people are so naive, and I don't know why they want to think that we all should be naive like them. They say president never know that they're about to overthrow Fonante when he took in there. That's complete blatant lie. These people, the man said he's a regime speaker. You think he didn't inform Boakai to become a regime speaker? He had to do that. These people collaborate. That's why the relationship is collaboration. But it is just sad. So let's just move on to the next topic. And recently there was this talk about how they call it investment by ArcelorMittal, right? Liberia, in I think it was in Bon County or Nima County, right? Where they build this I know to someone I just remember the name for the concentrator, right? For the iron ore concentrator that was installed, I think, in the billions of dollars. I think 3-point-something billion.
Yeah, in Nima, somewhere in Nima. Yeah,
in Nima County.
Yegepa
County.
Yeah.
Yegepa, yeah. I think it's a good business decision by the company, because nowadays iron ore with good grade make a lot of money. So I think it was a good investment for them to do what they have done. And nobody should believe that it's in the interest of Liberia that what they've done. It is in their interest. That money was not for Liberia, it's for them. Those are equipment that they bought from overseas. That $3-point-something million did not go into the economy. They bought it from overseas, and the equipment was transported to Liberia, and they set it up. And the most amount of people that particular plant can employ directly will be in 100. So that 6,000 they are talking about is a complete lie, and it is meant to cajole the unsuspected citizens who would think that 6,000 Liberians are coming to get jobs. It's completely erroneous. That's why. So what do you say? What do you say, Mr. Cindy?
George, I mean, I don't know where you got the capacity. I mean, the capacity. I don't know how you did it. The workforce planning for these people to build a capacity for the factory, but there's just 6,000 jobs will be provided. I don't think it's going to be 6,000 Liberians alone. I think 6,000 jobs. If it ever get to that point, we may also have some foreigners. But for me, for the fact that it will add more employment to Liberian, there will be Liberians, getting extra jobs. I think it's something worth looking into. To your point that the refined iron ore will not benefit us, will only add value to the ArcelorMittal, to that organization. Again, I don't know much about iron ore. What I was thinking was, okay, are they actually making? So they are not making the iron in Liberia. They are just trying to, redefine or define, make the ore a little better, add more value to it before they can sell it out, right? So yes, then to that point, it benefits the organization. But if the process will involve Liberians in terms of employment, for Liberians to get jobs to do that, then I think then it's better than just digging the ore, putting it on the truck or on the train and shipping it out of Liberia. Because what they're doing right now is not giving Liberian, jobs or more Liberian jobs. There are few Liberians that are working on the mines. They're using their truck. They're using their yellow machines. They dig them out, put them on the train, and then they ship it out. But if they're building a factory where there might be, like you said, 100 Liberians, I don't know, maybe 1,000 Liberians will be employed there, that extra 1,000 Liberians that will not have to beg for bread, that extra 1,000 Liberians whose children's school fee will be paid, is it costing Liberia any additional money? I guess that should be the question. What is the opportunity cost? What are we losing for maybe the 1,000 job? Are we losing anything extra, for that 1,000 job? And I don't think we are. So I mean, I really don't think we are. So, and if we are not, then there is no need to be concerned. Then we should be happy about the additional employment.
Yeah, look, thank you. So maybe I need to make this clear. That is not a factory. It's a concentrator. So what concentrator does is that, okay, let's say you're digging gold right behind your house, and then the people say your gold where you digging, it get plenty mud on it. So wash it good, then we'll get more value. But because when you bring it again, we gotta go wash it again. We gotta spend money to wash it. You know what I mean? So the value can go down. So let it go away $2,000. But when you bring it to we'll buy the $2,000, when we go wash it again, then it can turn to 1.3 grams, right? So we're losing. So we'll not be buying your gold. The price was sort of buy it because it's dirty. So you say, okay, I'll buy a machine to wash the gold before I bring it. You see it? That's exactly what's happening. So it's not like they're making anything. It's not a manufacturing plant. It's nothing. All it does is that it is how do you call it? It is a constitution plan that just refine the ore to be sold. So yes, what happened? What happens actually is that like it has always been done. Obama, you go in the kitchen. They run behind in the living room.
I was sitting outside raining. I'm in Florida, so I'm on vacation, brother.
Oh, Florida. That's it. Yeah, so the thing is, so
I'm in Miami, like your job. We are saying we get Liberia. Yeah,
Miami will get in Liberia there. Miami. Yeah. So the thing is, because the weather in Liberia is almost the same when you get there. So that was the comparison. So the thing is that what it does is that, like before, maybe you had 6 trucks, right? pouring iron ore to put it on a train, right? You will still have the same 6 trucks that will dump the ore into that particular concentrator and refine it, put it back in the truck, and the truck dump it on something. So there's no added, workforce that needed to be there.
So you're saying that no human labor will be required to manage that process. That's what you're saying.
That's why I said it will be less than 100 people. So what happened is that there is a control room that operates that particular plant, right? And at a time, you have maybe 2-3 persons working there, right? So you press the button, the conveyor belt starts, you wash it and make sure that when it's stopping, when no ore on it, you stop it. You know what I mean? And for you to tip it, you tip it. When the truck comes, you make the truck to tip. When the truck gets there, you press the button, the thing opens, the truck dump all the ore inside, you close it and press the other button, the ore starts to go up on the conveyor belt to go in the concentrator to feed. I worked there before, here in Australia. The reason why we closed down the company I was working for in 2021 is because the ore price at the time had dropped, and because the ore we're getting from there, it needed concentrator as well, right? It was not pure, you know what I mean? The grade was not high enough to be sold at a certain price, so we're losing. So the company that I was working for had to close down, and the company was saying it is expensive to get concentrator now, so we have to close down and then get investors to invest to also get a concentrator, even though we already get the agreement with the government and the local people that get the land, right? So we can still mine here, but now we're not making any profit, so we have to close down. So they redundant us. We left, and I went to Liberia for a long vacation. I spent 3 months in Liberia because I was jobless. So the thing is that I know exactly how the process works. I know everything about mining iron ore because I've worked there for a very long period of time. So okay.
But we are more interested in how that plant will operate and what impact it will have on our environment in Nimba. We don't want a situation where the St. John will get polluted again and communities in the concession area will be impacted health-wise. And that is the reason why we should state here, we are very happy that Plan Area has endorsed our request so that the EPA in the first place can show us if there were ever permit issued AML. And what is the copy of that permit? And prior to that issuance of that permit, what were the environmental impact studies that were done to satisfy the construction or issuance of that permit to AML? These are things that we need to know from the EPA, because investment of that kind of scale should have a permit from the Environmental Protection Agency before its construction. So we are very happy with that, and we look forward to working with the committees to provide additional information. Thank you, Madam President.
So, I mean, Josh, we can clearly see that the Senate is already flagging some concerns, so which is a good thing. I do not know who the senator that was speaking, but maybe that senator is from NEMA. I don't know. But for the fact that they are raising the red flag already, asking the EPA to get involved, wanting to know what damage it's going to do to the community, which is another good aspect. You know, like I say, I asked for opportunity cost. What are we, losing versus what are we gaining? You know, what impact would that have on the community? But Josh, what we need in Liberia are factories. We need factories in Liberia. We need factories that will employ.
Why can't I say you're going to bring factories?
Well, maybe this is one of them. Maybe this is one of them.
That's not a factory that I continue to say to you. But I think you guys are only here to defend things. I told you, as an expert in the area, as a knowledgeable person, that is not a factory.
I agree with you. I'm not disputing it. I have no knowledge in this. So I think you have an experience. No, you have an experience in this. So, but again, I want to be very optimistic that maybe it might be a little different case from what you had in Australia. Like you said, your company was so broke that they couldn't even afford a thing. This company is rich enough to afford it. So maybe it might be a little different. Maybe they will hire more people than what we are anticipating. It may not be the 6,000, but maybe it'll be closer to that. Maybe we'll get 3,000 higher. Again, like I'm saying, even if we hire additional 100 Liberians, Josh, these are 100 Liberians who will never be begging or no longer be begging people for bread. These are 100 Liberians whose children's school fees will be paid on time. 100 Liberians who may have the opportunity now to eat on time. So I'm anticipating at least 3,000 Liberians to be hired. But if we get 100 Liberians hired with no major impact on our community, like what the senator is raising, with the clear permit being issued by the EPA, and making sure that the operations have the permits they require, they need, the place that particular things will be built is suitable enough for it. Once all of that work is done, and it's going to add, like you said, 100 more to employment, then I want to celebrate that. That's a little win. It may not be a huge win, but that's a little win for maybe 100 families that desire to also have employment.
Yeah, look, thank you, and I understand what you mean. For me, like I said from the beginning, I'm not really keen on trying to downplay, the concentrator installation, but what I'm trying to expose is the deception that because this has always happened in Liberia. People will be coming, they will say, we'll bring 5,000 jobs. Liberia will be coming, hey, let them come. When they come, they bring social foreigner, they sit down. And nobody asks them question because our lawmakers are in their pockets. When they go there, they get them $5,000, the movement that they're gone. They go pay for the government rent. That's all they do. So that particular idea, I wanted to be scrutinized to say, when you say 6,000 jobs, how are they going to be generated? Are you saying directly or indirectly? Because if you say 6,000 jobs, maybe the Kobo shop are close to the place. The woman is selling a Kobo shop because she will get plenty of customers, so she will hire 3 different people to be working in the Kobo shop to share the people are eating, right? Yeah, so you can say that employment, because that indirect employment, that's what they call indirect employment, right? So she will increase the people that are serving the Kobo, the employment there. Because
so now we got now that we'll have 103. The 3 people in the Kobo shop.
Yeah, exactly. So you see, so we are saying all that, but people should be clear about this thing. They should not always cajole us. They always bamboozle us into believing that, they will call a big number and then our hair will go boom, it explode. And
are you speaking from experience? Are you speaking from experience? Did this thing happen under George Weah administration? Where they promised investors were promising certain jobs and they were all issued to foreigners, or maybe those jobs were never realized in Liberia?
No, not actually under George Weah, because during George Weah time, most of the companies that operated in Liberia had already been there, right? They already signed an MDA on the Ellen government, so they were there. And when George Weah came, COVID came, so there was not a lot of investment going around in the world. But the thing is that when they started on Ellen, there was a big rush. Let me tell you, there's this really wonderful hotel, right, that is at the airport. They call it the Farmington Hotel, right, next to the river, Farmington River, right? That investment is incredible, man. I enjoyed that place when I stayed there. It's like I was upgraded to the presidential suite, my man. It's ridiculously nice, right? But those people are not going to pay any penny to the Liberian government for 25 years because they said they'll be, doing this, they'll be doing that. So can you imagine somebody from South Africa is making thousands and thousands of dollars, right? The least room you have there is $190 per night. And guess what? All the airlines, when they come, that's where they go to sleep. So they pay them. But these people are not going to pay anything to Liberia, to the Liberian government for 25 years. So see, where do we go? Because even the asphalt on the road, the quota component road, the lifespan is 25 years. Then you have to change it. You have to do reseal. We got to excavate the whole thing and put a new one there, right? So if somebody they say I'll build a road here, right, for me to do this, and then in 25 years before I pay you money, in the 25-year time, that particular asphalt is useless. That road again, you get purple all on it, right? So now it's not there anymore. Let's say the hotel before that time, the hotel will tell, nobody want to go to that hotel again. You see it? So they ain't generating no money, and you gotta take that from them from the business they make, right? So it doesn't make any sense. So what I'm trying to say is that people should not always tell us the big numbers and then we don't ask questions. We start to rejoice. Yeah. When in fact, the actual employment is not even up to scratch. And that's the whole thing. So we need to hold these people accountable. Tell us how these jobs will be created. Let's look on your books. Since you started this constitution in operation, how many people have been employed now? Liberians. You get what I mean? Give us the employment list. Let's see the people. You know what I mean? Those things, you got to scrutinize the people. But if you just sit there and they take 6,000 people, 6,000 is not a small number, Sandy. 6,000 is a good number. That if that is actually done in Liberia, 6,000 people get jobs. That's when you see the market move, stop crying. They'll say President Boubacar is the best president because those 6,000 people will be responsible for maybe 50,000 people that will be going in the market to buy things, right? Because they are making money, right? They have a job. So it's all in the interest of this government, but we want to make sure that they are tracked. They make sure that they do the right thing at all times. That's the whole idea here. So, Liberia belongs to every one of us, and we want to see the betterment of that country. So that's why we continue to press. Yeah, but nobody must come to those of us with the experience and the professional ability to come and tell us anything, and then we should just sit down and believe it because we have to believe it. No, it shouldn't work that way.
I mean, I don't think as a nation that's how we should approach these things. I think I agree with you. Again, I'm in agreement with you. I agree that they should be scrutinized. I agree that we should know exactly what is being talked about. What kind of jobs are we talking about? And who are we issuing the jobs to, right? Now,
Yeah, exactly.
recently we saw how do you call those people? The Revenue Authority, you know them. Like LRA, Liberia Revenue Authority.
Revenue Authority, yeah.
We saw that they were issuing job permits or working permits to foreigners. And when that issue was brought up, what they said basically was, highlighting the amount that was generated from those permits. And I'm one of those that strongly argue against that. Instead of just giving permits to foreigners in the name of generating maybe a couple millions of dollars, it's better to, give those jobs to Liberians that will be employed for a long time and they can provide income to their family, and that money can stay right in Liberia. And that's one thing we need to also really work towards. Again, based on my experience in other countries like Rwanda, I will continue to mention on this show, is that when it comes to employment, they will always prioritize their own people. They will never put the foreigners first. Even if the foreigner brings the job in the country, it will be the people that will be prioritized. So, let's hope that the 6,000 job, hopefully it comes to fruition. Or if we cannot even get 6,000, maybe we can get half of that, 3,000. But then we should also make sure that at least 75% of those 3,000 jobs go to Liberians. And I'm talking about also the high-paying one, the leadership positions, the managers, maybe the directors, the technicians. And even if we bring the foreigners should be only to train the locals so that the local can also gain those skills and ascend to the higher technical positions as well. Because Liberians are smart people. Liberians who deserve to have better jobs. Liberians are not just sweepers of the stores and security of the stores. Liberians are also, like I said, very smart people, sophisticated people. And they should also attend to the technical position, the management positions, the supervisor positions, and all of that.
Yeah.
So, but it is incumbent upon the government to ensure that those people are being regulated, those foreign organizations are being regulated, and that they are making sure Liberians are not being left out in their own country.
True. I agree, 100%. So look, so our host, I don't know whether she's in the back or she's somewhere. I don't know where she is. And I think it's about time. Let's give our closing, because I think she's having some technical difficulties, like Nelson used to have. So go ahead, my man. You're closing.
Well, I mean, it's a good brief show. I've been on here for maybe an hour, but it's a good show. I mean, the topic discussed are all relevant to our country. The ongoing case involving Funati Kofa, my own representative from my district, representing my district, Jacob Dbi, is also involved with this case. I mean, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who is, involved. I think the most important thing is that this concerns Liberia. We want to know who burned the Capitol building. And if any of those gentlemen plus more are caught with evidence, clear evidence that they were involved in the coordination, the financing, and the physical burning of the Capitol building, they must be brought to justice. It is time that we allow the justice systems to work. It is time that we set precedent to ensure that no one will destroy properties belonging to the Liberian people, that no one will steal from the Liberian people. We should ensure that our system works for our country. For Liberia to get better, our systems, our legal systems, our judiciary system should get better. And we must bring people to face the law. It doesn't matter whether they are former presidents, former vice presidents, former speakers, whatever their titles, or even current government officials. If you are caught doing the wrong thing, you must be brought to book. You must face justice. And lastly, on the issue of, we talk about the Asalaminta thing, that 6 million or 600,000 jobs, right, coming to Liberia. Well, we hope, again, like I said, any addition to the Liberian employment or workforce is a good thing. Our people are solely dependent on government jobs because currently government is the primary provider of employment in the country.
Yeah,
we must work away from that. In Australia, in the US, in Europe, in most part of the world, private sectors are what people are gravitated towards, not government jobs. Nobody, most people in those countries don't care about the government. Some people don't even want to know what the government doing. So they don't even pay attention to the government because whether the government function or not, they still get paid. I have been working for over 16 years in this country. I have not worked for government. My paycheck don't come from government. I don't care about the government. So we hope that our country will get to a point where majority of our employment will come from the private sectors. I hope that if we cannot get the 6,000 jobs, we can get at least 3,000 jobs, and that most of that can go to Liberia. Just thank you for co-hosting the show. It was a great, short show tonight.
You think I'm a very competent co-host, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you put your biasness a little aside, your CDC party hat aside, then yes.
Look, I don't know. Sometimes being critical is being biased, and there's a thin line, when you're critical, people say you're biased. Well, it is okay. Look, I want to thank you as well for coming on. I think it is always good to be here, to share our point of view, because POV is very important. Because sometimes what you say might not be exactly the bread for other people. Like in the comment section, people will be saying different things, right? But guess what? All those in the comment section, they take something away. They learn something new every day. We learn something new by reading their comments as well, and so much so that we become better people and better discussing, as time goes by. But yeah, to the issue discussed tonight, the concentrator in Nima County and the case at the civil law court, the Fonadekova and his friends, or a co-defendants versus Republic of Liberia. I think we want the truth to come out. We want we know that this government said they were the most sophisticated government to be, in Liberia. So sophistication comes with some of the pitfalls. Like we expect more from you, and if you cannot produce that more that we need from you, it becomes an issue. So we hope that this government is able to bring actual evidence, to convict, or these people should be let go, because what they're putting forth is not substantial enough, to warrant a trial. From my understanding, hopefully I'm wrong, or hopefully they're right. I don't know, but look, it was wonderful, being on the show, and we just hope that God can save Liberia from Joe Boakai, because his best days are behind him, and we still have a Liberia, that we need to, to foster for our children and our children. So we need to preserve Liberia. So thank you. God bless you, and have
George,
a wonderful
before you
day
go,
wherever you are.
you want God to save Liberia from Joe Boakai. Who is your
Yes.
alternative? Who do you think is good for Liberia at this point?
Look, to be honest with you, that question is a really good question.
Okay.
I think the best person to be, from my point of view, I got three persons on my mind.
Okay.
And the first person on top of that list is President George Weah. The second person is Cummings, and the third person is the counselor, the learning counselor. How they call him? Gonglo.
Okay.
He's the third person on my list. Yeah, and I think with them, yeah.
Give me two reasons each. Why is let's start with Gonglo. Why is Gonglo better? Is a better alternative than President Boakai?
Okay, Gonglo. The reason I think Gonglo is better is Gonglo understands the issues, right? He lived in Liberia. He's felt Liberia. He knows what it is to be over there. You know what I mean? And he's educated, so that he's not afraid to do the right thing, because he sits in his house and talks against the government any way he feels it's okay to do, right? And he doesn't fear any ramification. So I feel that such a person who can say what the mind is will do the right thing, because they have a lot at stake. And I think that's why I chose him to be the third on the list.
Okay, Ellis Cummings.
Ellis Cummings. I think Ellis Cummings. The reason I've chosen him to be my second favorite is because he got a lot of experience. You know what I mean? And that's why, when people criticize him for saying, that gay comment and stuff like that, I agree with him. I work in the West. I cannot go in my office and say I hate gay people. My brother, you're not maintaining that job. They will take it from there. You have to be very, very much. We all use it against him, and I use it against him as well. But I knew it was political, right? You can never go in the public and state those things and expect the West to like you. The reason why Kenya is having a lot of problems because of what they're saying against gay people in their country. So it's like there is imaginary sanction on them. But here we are, right? The reason why they're still moving is because they are on hub. All the plane can land there before you go most places, right? And they got their own airline and got so many things that is shooting them from that particular West, targets, right? So Ellis Cummings, for me, he's upstairs. He got head on his shoulder. He knows exactly what is not, and he knows that if you invest, you must get something. He's like a Trump guy, right? Because he's from the business world, right? So he will make business decisions that will bring money into the country. Then the country beg him out. I think that's my understanding.
So why should President Weah come back?
The reason I want President Weah to come back is because President Weah, he always used to say he wants to make Liberia, because he said outside there, everything that outside there in Liberia, we can make Liberia better. That's why even the automation came to him and said Miami, right? Because he feels that Liberia can be better, right? With us holding together and doing things together. And we don't have the money, and he acknowledged that. Only President Boakai was trying to lie to people and say Liberia is rich. Liberia is not rich. Liberia does not have money. They think we have resources, but the resources cannot be mined by us. They can be mined by companies. And which company will come to Liberia when they have to bring all their workforce because they don't have the technical know-how in Liberia to do those works? So they will pay people plenty of money to bring them in Liberia to work. So they will not make more profit. But if they could hire everybody locally who have the technical skills that they need, they will make profit and they'll be able to sustain it there, right? But if they even carry factory there to make rubber tire, to say, let's say that how many people can buy a new tire a week, a month?
How does that relate to George Weah though? How does that application
I'm coming there. So President Weah, knowing that as together as a people we can make Liberia better, the first thing he did was that he said, look, we have to first build the capacity of Liberians. The first thing, as soon as he became president, he sent more than 20 doctors to go and specialize. That, for me, it was a mind-boggling thing, because this is something that I did not see it coming in the first year. I saw it coming down the line, but he first started with boom. He didn't say you want to bring 6,000 teachers from Nigeria. I was like, wow, this guy is serious for education and building the capacity of Nigerians, even though that did not materialize, right? But just to have that mentality, because when I went to school, we had Ghanaians teaching us in St. Francis High School. That's why my education is up here, because I had a very good foundation, right? So when we have these people that come from different countries that come and teach our people in the university I attend here in Australia, we have Ghanaian teachers here. We have Zimbabwean teachers here. We have different countries teachers here. And those people, that particular experience that come together to educate the people can make people more open-minded and be able to think outside the box most of the times, right? So when President we have started these things, I'll like, damn, this guy is my guy. Because look, if you can start like this, want to build the first thing you want to build is capacity, and then before you move to the next step to build the infrastructure, because without capacity to even maintain it, if you bring Chinese to come and build any place and no Liberian able to pin straight line, when the Chinese go, who will pin it? That building will be dirty and then it will collapse. So when President we have started to develop that mindset, I decided he's the guy. And I'm sure that when he comes back, can't say if, because he will come back. When he comes back, he will start from where he stopped, and we'll see Liberia moving in a trajectory that we've never seen before. The only thing that is that my grandma used to say, when you're in the good house, the bad house can be calling you. When Boakai came with the fallacy and the lies and said, oh, they riding the BB car, he riding the biggest car now in Monrovia. But when in the good house, the bad house can be calling you. So they fool the people and say, oh, we'll do better. Now the people are crying in the market, they are crying everywhere because President he used common sense. That was something where they used common sense. They said, look, if you hold this money tight, nobody will be able to buy. In this country where the reason, let me tell you, now when they know say the economy going down, you know what they do? They say we want to build a new airport somewhere. Because they know that if you pay the tradies, because they are considered the middle class, you pay them money, they can go spend it. Poor people can spend money, rich people can hold money. That what made them rich, because they get a mindset of saving money. I think you in that area, so I don't want to let you on it. Yeah. Right. So in our insurance and other things. So they will go to the grassroots people and give them money. In this country, if I lost my job now, I'll just go on the internet and register and say I lost my job. They say, where your letter of termination or where your letter of redundancy? I put my letter in, blah, blah, blah. After 2 weeks, they start paying me over $1,000 every 2 weeks until I can get another job. Yeah. When you born your child, they will start paying the child, because they know that when they pay that money, because you are like me, right? You're not rich. You go spend that money in the supermarket. The supermarket will take that money and go on the farm where they put facing the and buy the food. Because when they buy the food, they will not be able to make that farm again because they ain't making money. They gotta pay the people that work in the farm. You see, so the money we say poor people on supplementary payroll. Let me them to do some work and pay them. When you pay them, those people that one person that coming to the secondary machine to work, they get 20 people that waiting for them for that money. So when they will go to the market and buy. Market will be happy, country moving. Like I said, no, you're not sort of be that. You're not sort of be selling in the street. I come here, I will change everything. They can't have no money. Market will be crying. You see it? Now, common economics, but these people
we'll hold a campaign there. We'll hold a campaign there for tonight.
Don't fire you.
We'll hold a campaign there for tonight. But I just want to say to Maruf. Maruf, thank you for coming on. Lynn Laborde, thank you for supporting us.
Thank you for coming.
Francis Harris, thank you for supporting. We're trying to grow this thing. Some of the panelists are still struggling to adapt to this, but we will get everybody on. Heng Seng Tamba. Heng Seng, thank you for joining us. Wilson Johnson, thank you for joining us. Bala Soiree was on as well. Bala, thank you for joining us. All of you. So I think, Josh, we want to end here for now.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. I don't know whether our host is backstage to get her offline. Maybe if you are there, please take it up from us.
Yes. Well, I'm going to leave. And when you leave, I think then subsequently it will leave. All right. Yeah. Well, I will join you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Good night from my end.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.